Hey y'all, Fabulites. It's Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. I ain't got no questions except for, did you watch the Real Housewives of Potomac? Are we gonna be able to stick it through? Because I'm getting kind of excited about seeing basketball wives. So maybe I'm just like everybody else, and I like more drama rather than not. But anyway, I'll probably stick it out just as an exercise of trying to support relatively sane, non-crazy, nasty, bitchy women. Right? Stick around if you want to hear my comments, thoughts, reflections, recap, review of Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 2, episode 2 or 3? Maybe 3? Dang, my notes are terrible today. This is awful. Okay. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And thank you for being here. So the first scene, this system of notes that I took is a mess. M-E-S-S. So the first scene is, I really like how they have the montages of the family life in the beginning. Do they do that with all the shows? And I never noticed it. They have like a little 2-second scene here, a little 2-second scene there. I liked it, of, you know, family life. Just them being normal people, which they are. So then we have Monique. And she's with her girl Gigi, and they're talking about, you know, the Real Housewives of Potomac, her new friends. And it seemed like there was some potential something going on, because they undercover our biz, our big. Oh, that's a big closet, and them underwear were big. Oh my God. And when Gigi or when Monique mentions Eddie and says his last name, when I saw the scene the second time around, the timing looked a little off, so I don't know if I really believed it. Because, you know, you figure your friend is going to be on a TV show. You know what show it is. If you hadn't seen it, you're going to watch it. So she know who the characters are. She know who Charisse is. She know who her husband is. That's what I would figure. I don't know how close friends they are, but, you know, it would be easy to Google it and spend 2 minutes reading, 5 minutes researching. But anyway, when Gigi said, "Oh, I know Eddie," and then she just sipped the wine. I like that scene though. She didn't say anything. She just sipped her wine, but it sort of like piqued our interest a little bit. And then we have a scene with like Skylar. Oh, I like Skylar's natural hair. So that was a scene with Charisse, not Robin. And she's an honor student, and she seemed like your typical 15-year-old girl. So that seemed wholesome and healthy. And I like just seeing, you know, wholesome, healthy black people on TV. Okay. Then the third scene had, it was Robin and Giselle. It might have just been Robin and Giselle. Those are the only 3s that I see on my paper. Oh, they're at the nail salon, and they're having, you know, they're kind of having girl talk and kind of dealing with the fact that at the end of the last episode, Miss Robin sort of implied or said or tried to stir up some drama around Robin not being a real friend to Giselle. We're talking about Giselle behind her back. And basically, you know, Robin, and I think, you know, when you're dealing with people and in relationships, you get to know people through, not just through time, but through your experiences of them in different contexts. So I think that Robin has had a new experience of Giselle with, you know, how Giselle handled the whole situation with Charisse, in terms of Giselle feeling like Charisse called her a hoe or implied that she was a hoe. And so then Giselle spilled her business on national TV. And, you know, so I think that now Robin knows that, you know, you need to be very cautious about what you share with Giselle, and that, you know, Giselle might react in a way that seems out of proportion to what actually happened. So if you do get in an argument with her, anything could happen. If you all have a disagreement, anything could happen. So, you know, and that's how you learn to know people. So I think she basically said to, Robin was basically saying to Giselle, you know, I think you're classier than that. You're too classy for that. You know, you're a grown and sexy woman. But, you know, these are grown and sexy women who are relatively well-to-do, well-educated, and, you know, doing relatively well, but they trying to make it on these reality shows. They come from basically strong backgrounds. You know, they, you know, have probably, for the most part, had pretty stable upbringings, I would imagine, from what I can tell. So that's a whole different type of woman than, you know, some of these other women. Their experiences growing up have been, you know, sort of wild and unstable. At least you get that impression, definitely, by their behavior. If you look at how, you know, someone like a Kenya behaves, and then you hear stories of how, you know, her mother interacted with her and how she was raised, it puts her behavior in context. It gives you a frame of reference for her being petty and mean and evil sometimes. You know, you think that's a person who's in pain. You know, whereas if, you know, some of these other people have had very different experiences. So they're not as, you know, angry and bitter and petty. You know, I'm not saying just because someone is, you never know what somebody's experience has been. But, you know, Robin is like, Giselle, I just, you know, I would expect more from you, basically. So that was that scene. And then the fourth scene, Raven comes home. Raven seems so sweet. Another good, wholesome little girl. She, I don't know what sorority she pledged. She a freshman, and 1 month in, she's already in the sorority. It's probably not, you know, one of the historically Black Greek letter sororities, I'm guessing. I don't know, you know, what's going on out there now, and you know, I don't know, but it just sounded, I'm like, huh, what? But Raven, that's cute. That was a cute scene to me, but no drama, nothing really excited about it. Corey and Carter, 2 years since they saw. Oh, we have a scene where Robin takes her children to the dentist, and it's been 2 years since they've been to the dentist. And she says her daddy is a dentist. Is her father alive? Why did she take the children to their daddy? I'm not like a big fan of the dentist, but, you know, if that's something you into, like getting those regular yearly cleanings or 6-month cleanings, your daddy or some of his friends, even if you having financial problems, they couldn't help you. But I did like that she had a Black woman dentist. Okay, so that was number 5. Scene number 6. This seems like it might have had Robin confidence because he cheated on her. Oh, this is when Ashley says, she basically is saying that Robin's confidence is eroded because he cheated. Her husband, Juan, cheated on her ass. And then there's a scene where, or in that same scene, so it's like Ashley and it's Charisse, or I don't know who it is, but it's Karen. It's almost all of them except for Monique, I think. I don't know, but anyway. And they're like, well, what can we do to help Oz? You know, how can we have a pop-up party, or they had some cute ideas. I can't even remember them now. But that's sweet that they trying to help a restaurant. Yeah, use, you know, your fame, your platform, you know, help a sister out. They seem to need it. And the husband, I don't know, he's probably trying to help, but it don't look like it on TV. Okay, and then we have this scene with, or this whole dynamic with Monique. And I'm probably just going to skip over to, oh, wait, let me do Monique last. Giselle is keeping all the money. Like, Giselle is keeping all the money. I don't know what that means. Back. Oh. So they want some money. They're at the horse place, and Giselle, they did something. I wasn't paying good attention to that. And Giselle says she keeping all the money. She ain't sharing it. So that was basically that. We see Robin at the salon. The woman who did her hair, the woman who was doing Robin's hair, her hair looked really good to me. It was slayed. Juan is calling twice while she getting her hair shampooed. That seemed kind of odd. I don't know if that was something they set up for TV. He don't know how to make a burger. He don't, you know, that's his first time working the grill. That whole thing was weird to me. But I did appreciate her hair, whoever she was. Robin's therapist, and she seemed to have some, you know, some sound advice. We see Ashley and Michael skydiving. They're doing some simulated skydiving and trying to work on their marriage or talk about their marriage and, you know, get back to that. So that was basically the episode. I guess the only thing that the thing that was really interesting to me, or, you know, was kind of like, you know, I felt like a learning moment, an educational moment, was this whole thing with Monique and her in-laws and her husband. So we see Monique talks about she's mentally preparing to see her mother-in-law. She and her husband have been together for 10 years, but they've been married for about 4 years. She says that when she first got with her husband, she had a good relationship. When she was dating her husband, she had a good relationship with her mother-in-law, or good enough. And I think that somewhere along the way, Monique did something to offend that woman, because at first I was like, oh, you know, she probably had a good relationship. And then when the mother saw that they were getting married, the mother felt threatened in terms of the money and, you know, who's going to take care of her in her old age, and she done invested in her son, and now this woman is going to come in and take all the money with her and her children. And, you know, there was like this weird thing when they got together, and the mother, her husband is being inducted into the Alabama Hall of Fame. He's 38 years old. She says that that's very unusual. Monique says that that's unusual. Usually people are 50 or 60 before they get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So yay, I thought that was, you know, we love Black excellence, Black people doing well. That's good. The grandmother says that it's been a long time since she's seen the kids. And Monique is like, what is she talking about in her interview? We see them every holiday. Now, I guess, you know, she could just be saying something for the camera because she's nervous. Or she could feel like, you know, 5 times a year at an event at a restaurant for a couple hours is not like really seeing people in good quality time. And maybe she's trying to say that she misses her grandkids. I wasn't really clear. We don't know the woman. We don't have a lot of context. And then there was a thing where the mother-in-law complimented, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, Miss Mama mother-in-law, complimented or said something about Monique's necklace, and then asked why Monique's daughter didn't have a necklace. And I don't know, I almost felt like it was like an implication that like Monique spent too much money on herself and not enough money on the children. And Monique is like, oh, well, she has these earrings and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if Monique was nervous or if it's just her personality. But over the course of the interaction with the mother, my perspective with her husband's mother, my perspective changed. Because it was like Monique was just steadily talking, and the mother was making commentary to the person next to her. So it wasn't like they were having like a group conversation around the table. They weren't interacting with each other. So it seemed like there's some breakdown in their relationship where, you know, and then I realized that Monique, she just seemed like she was doing a lot of talking, but not like, well, how you doing, mama? You know, mama, husband, mama-in-law, mama-in-love, and what you been up to, and, you know, how are things going with your garden, or whatever her mother-in-law is interested in. I mean, this is someone, she's been, you know, married to this man for 4 years, so I would think that she would know something about his mother and about what her interests are. Like my mother-in-law, I remember my last mother-in-law, it was kind of difficult for me to find things that we could connect on, but I knew that for the most part, she went to church every week. I knew that clothes and dressing were really important to her. So I would try to talk to her and engage her on those things that she was interested in. So, you know, I don't know, it just seemed like the whole dynamic toward the end of it, it seemed kind of tense to me. And at first I was like, well, why is the mother being so rude talking to the person next to her? But then I started feeling like Miss Monique maybe needs to practice being more quiet and listening more and engaging other people and asking them questions. And she, you know, again, she may be nervous just because of the tenseness in their relationship. She may be nervous because something happened to erode the relationship and she doesn't know what it is, can't figure out what it is. She may be nervous because of having the cameras there and not knowing what might happen, you know, all of that. But, you know, I just think that, you know, she should listen. It was a whole weird dynamic where, you know, Monique was saying, you know, them Samuel babies, I've been having them babies and they heavy. And the mama is like, you know, well, we didn't have money and my babies were bigger than your babies. Your babies only weighed 8 pounds. My babies weighed 20 pounds. And, you know, I didn't cry. I loved it. I loved being in labor. I laughed when I was in labor. And it was like, what kind of weird, you know, dynamic is going on here? It just seemed kind of different. But then at the end, it was kind of like, you know, the mother. And then the mother said at the very end of the scene, she said, I got that heifer straight talking to the person next to her about Monique, her daughter-in-law, the mother of her grandchildren. And I'm like, that seems like heifer. Like, I don't know the woman. I don't know what kind of woman she is. But that's kind of strong language to use. I mean, it's not like the strongest of language, but I mean, you going around calling people heifers? I mean, I don't know her. Maybe she do that all the time. But she doesn't really seem to like Monique very much. And I don't think that she feels that Monique respects her. So my suggestion to you, Miss Monique, and to all of us is to try to listen to people. Just, you know, be quiet and listen. And maybe say, oh, okay, I hear you. Like, you know, some of the stuff that the mother-in-law was saying about marriage or relationships or Monique was saying, it's kind of like sometimes, you know, even if you don't agree, you can just say, oh, okay. And just smile. You got a beautiful smile. You know, you want to be respectful. I feel like your heart is in the right place. You know, but, you know, smile, ask more questions about other people, try to engage them more, and, you know, try to let the mother, your husband's mother, feel like you hear her and you respect her and you value her perspective and her take. So, y'all, that was the Real Housewives of Potomac. I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't feel like some of these shows, like some of the shows that come on VH1, for example, Love and Basketball, Love and Hip Hop, whatever. I'd rather listen to a review than actually watch the show for the most part. Sometimes I watch the show, but it's not programmed in for me to watch. Potomac is still programmed in for me to watch mentally. I mean, it's programmed into my mind. I want to see it. I want to know what's going on with them. I want to see their stories unfold. Am I using my high-pitched, desperate voice because I want their show to keep going and I don't want them to get canceled? And I want to see black women, you know, if they want to be on reality TV and be positive and relatively sane, I want to see them out there. Am I desperate? Are you watching Potomac? Are you enjoying it? Is it exciting enough for you? Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Bye, boo. Mwah.